I really hope I'm in focus, because it wouldn't be the first time I filmed a video and not been in focus and had to do it again, so fingers crossed I am. Hello and welcome to a hopefully small but mighty March wrap-up. I don't know what happened with March. March very much ran away from me. I was so busy and overwhelmed with how busy I was, but yet when I look back on it, I can't pinpoint what exactly it was that I did and why I was so busy, and it kind of just feels like life was hijacked a little bit, and I don't know what happened, but it was the 1st of March, and I had all these great reading plans. Remember my March TBR? Did you see that? I had all these great reading plans for March. 1st of March hit, and then suddenly it was the 18th, and I hadn't read anything, but I had been so busy doing what? I could not possibly tell you, but just busy. And now I look back on March and feel like I've got absolutely nothing to show for it, other than a, as I say, hopefully small but mighty wrap-up. You know what I did do in March though? I did watch the entirety of Has Been Hotel. So there's something new for you. I'm not big on watching TV, I don't watch an awful lot, but I had seen like clips of the songs from Has Been Hotel floating around, and I decided that I needed to watch the whole thing. So I watched it all. There's only 8 episodes and they're relatively small, but obsessed, love it. It is an adult musical cartoon, very adult, you've been warned. Adult musical cartoon about the princess of hell wanting to redeem the sinners in hell. Super catchy songs, really funny, I really liked it. If you've watched it, let me know, because I'm obsessed, and anytime I talk about it, whoever I'm talking to has never heard of it, never seen it, and I love it. So that, I feel like, is like the main thing I have to show for March, because otherwise, what did I accomplish? Absolutely nothing. And I look back on it and think, like, I need some sort of help sometimes with this overwhelming feeling of being busy and the constant drive to be productive and kind of overwork myself a little bit. I've done a little digging on something I can do to like better myself, and I've come across this class online called Simple Productivity: How to Accomplish More with Less, and it is by Greg McKeown, who is the author of The Power of Essentialism, or Essentialism. It's like a self-help book about being productive in an essential way, doing less but doing more of the things that matter. And I came across this class on Skillshare, and I've had a flick through like the first few classes of it, and it really fascinated me in that some of the phrases that Greg uses immediately in the introduction are some of the phrases that I use myself, like feeling like my life's being hijacked by all of the things that I have to do is a phrase that he uses, and I was like, wow, that sounds a lot like me. And just listening to it, it sounds like it could be a really powerful reflection tool. So I'm going to spend some time at some point going through that class, which, as I say, is on Skillshare. You have probably heard me mention Skillshare before. Skillshare is an online learning platform for creatives, productives, all sorts of people. There are many, many different classes on Skillshare, from photography, animation, marketing, productivity, UX, which is something that I often use at work. I actually use Skillshare a lot at work to go through like UX classes and stuff. And the classes that are on there are led by industry professionals, so you know that you're getting some quality content from them. And they also have learning paths where you can have like a curated list of classes that will take you through the different levels of a skill, which is what I have been doing with work with the UX ones. This particular productivity one from Greg McKeown on Essentialism isn't part of a learning path, it's just one that I stumbled across because it seemed personally relevant to me. So I'm looking forward to diving a little bit into Essentialism, learning how to do less but do more of what matters, eliminating the non-essentials and slowing down maybe a little bit, and then perhaps I will have something to show for the busy that I always seem to feel. So thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I will of course have Skillshare linked down below, and the first 500 people to click the link in the description will get a free 1-month trial of Skillshare to test it out for yourself. So have a check out down below, and yeah, get started with your own Skillshare journey. Thank you very much, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. So as I say, reading wrap-up wise, I feel like I don't have a whole lot to talk about because I finished a grand total of 3 books. 3 books in March, which is very few for me. And spoiler alert, it's these 3 just here. You can probably tell what they are already. But first one was Crucible of Chaos by Sebastian de Castell. This is the prelude to the Court of Shadows. So like the prequel to Play of Shadows is the first book in the Court of Shadows series, so this is like the prequel to that. It's almost like there was just that little bit of gap before that needed to be filled, and this is that. I enjoyed this. I love Sebastian de Castell's writing. I love everything that I've read from him. I will say I think this is my least favourite. It still got 4 stars from me, so it's still a good read, but of Seb's books I feel like this is my least favourite, and I think it's because I didn't connect with the characters in this one quite as much as I have with his other books. So this one follows Estevar, and Estevar is the King's Crucible. He is the greatcoat that focuses more on the supernatural and the magical, and there is an abbey that is causing some chaos. There's rumours coming out of the abbey of demons walking, and there has been a murder. And because of these demonic rumours, the rumours of gods arising, Estevar is sent to investigate because it sounds a little bit supernatural. And Estevar has a donkey companion called Imperius, or a mule companion called Imperius, who is just the best. And the relationship between Estevar and Imperius, beautiful. Love that donkey. But yeah, Estevar goes to investigate at the abbey and work out who's behind the murder and what's going on with these walking demons, and are gods rising here, and what is going on at the abbey. It was mysterious. I love the magic of this world. I love the politics of this world. And the mystery was good, but I feel like when I'm picking up a Greatcoats novel, I don't think I'm necessarily doing it for the mystery. I'm doing it for the action, the adventure, the humour, and I didn't get that with Estevar so much. I just didn't find him as funny as Falcio, Kest and Brasti. And I think also because I'm doing my reread of the Greatcoats alongside now reading the newer Greatcoats books, maybe it's a bit easier to do that direct comparison. Like, reading from Falcio's perspective, I love it, I love the humour, I'm so into it. And then from Estevar's voice, I just wasn't into it quite so much. But I still love Seb's writing, and I still love like the lore and the way that this has set up certain happenings in the world ready for Play of Shadows and the rest of the Court of Shadows series, because there's definitely some groundwork that has needed to be laid here for the future landscape in the Court of Shadows. So maybe that's kind of what the main purpose of this one was. I didn't like dislike Estevar, I just didn't like him as much as I've liked the other Greatcoats, but it was a must-read in order to continue the series, so glad that I've done so, and it was still a 4-star, so not bad by any stretch. Next up is The Fragile Threads of Power. Another one of my favourite authors, Miss Victoria Schwab. This is the newest book in the Shades of Magic series world. This is a new series following on from the events of the Dark Shade of Magic trilogy. So kind of the same series, kind of, I think, maybe. I have a whole vlog where I read this book in a day. I gobbled this up, I was so into it. This was exactly what I wanted it to be, but also not exactly what I expected it to be. I wasn't sure if we were going to get so much of those older characters like Kel and Lila and that lot. I didn't know we were going to get quite so much of them, because I know that this one follows Tess. Tess is a new character in this world for us, and Tess has the ability to see the threads of power, the threads that make magic, but not only can she see them, she can manipulate them, so she can pluck them, she can tie them, she can mess with them. And the main happening of this is there is kind of a rebellion starting in Red London. The magic is dwindling in Red London. Is it because that the king they now have doesn't have enough magic? Is it because magic is going elsewhere? Why is the magic dwindling? And could Tess and her ability to pluck those magic threads and manipulate them be a useful ally to have in that situation? So I thought we were going to get a lot more of Tess and her life and her as our main character, but I was so pleasantly surprised to have so much of Kel and Lila and Alucard and Rye. Like, my faves. I loved it. I loved it so much. This was so compelling, and Victoria Schwab's writing style, I hadn't read a Schwab book in a little while, and I was kind of worried that she had always been one of my favourite authors, and because I hadn't read something from her in a while, what if she wasn't anymore? What if my tastes had changed, and I still had her up on this pedestal as one of my favourites, but what if she wasn't quite there anymore? Can confirm she still is. Her writing style is just so compelling. Her pacing is incredible, and like, getting through this book in a day was not difficult because I was just so compelled to keep going. Like, the pacing just pushes you forward. She's so quick with it, like the chapter breaks and parts and structure in general of the novel, but also just the way she tells a story is just so compelling. So I had a fabulous time with this one. This one did get a 5-star rating from me. Beautiful, loved it. If you're a fan of The Shades of Magic and you haven't got to this one yet, what are you doing? Can't believe it took me quite so long to get to it, to be honest. I love it. So very much. Love it. And the last book that I finished in March is The Art of Destiny by Wesley Chu. This is the sequel to The Art of Prophecy, which I read and loved and then reread earlier this year in preparation for finally reading The Art of Destiny. Can't believe it took me quite so long. I loved this. I had a great time with this. I'm so attached to these characters. Like, Jean, as much as he is a whingy teenager, he is also just brilliant. And Taishi, his mentor, is also a miserable old woman, but also just brilliant. I can't tell you too much about what this particular book is about because it follows the events of The Art of Prophecy, but you will have probably heard me talk about The Art of Prophecy before. It follows Jean, who is the prophesized hero destined to kill the king. He is raised in splendor, he is trained by the best war arts teachers, he is given everything he could ever possibly want until Taishi, who is a member of the religion that basically worships Jean and the prophecy that he is said to fulfill. She witnesses him training and thinks, man, he is not doing a good job. Just because you are prophesized to be this hero doesn't mean that you can't put the work in and, you know, do it properly. Just because the prophecy says you're going to kill the king doesn't mean you haven't got to work for it. You've still got to train hard and actually become that hero. So Taishi overtakes his training. And then the prophecy turns out to be completely wrong anyway, because someone else kills the Khan, not Jean. And what do you do when your whole life is thrown away because you are no longer the centre of this prophecy? The religion that once worshipped you has fallen to pieces. What happens then? What happens when now there are assassins after you? Because you are the downfall of this religion. You are everything that they no longer stand for. There are people that want you dead when you used to be an absolute hero. What happens then? We do follow more of the assassin character in this one, I think, than we did in the first one, and seeing some of her development and how her story ties in a little bit more. And there is also Salminda, who is a how do I explain it? She is the, like, essence of the Khan, the king that had died. She is like a piece of his soul, and she is supposed to die when the king dies, but she's chosen not to, and she has seen the struggles that her people now face, and although her destiny is to die, she kind of decides to throw that away, not fulfill her destiny, and wants to help her people. And we then see a little bit more of how Salminder's story ties into Jeanne's story, and how they go hand in hand a little bit as well with what their goals are. I really can't say too much because I don't want to spoil anything, especially with it being a sequel, of course, so I will leave it at that. But I really did enjoy this. I didn't enjoy it quite as much as Art of Prophecy. Art of Prophecy was one that kind of took me by surprise and grabbed me, and I loved. Again, this one got a 4-star rather than a 5. Just didn't love it quite as much. Cannot pinpoint exactly why. I think, like, for the first half of this, I was kind of plodding along, like, waiting for something to happen, so, like, the pacing didn't seem quite so great in this one. But I still had a good time. Love the characters. Love overall the prophecy and destiny conversations that happen in this. It is my cup of tea, so a 4-star read in that one. Which does mean that my reading month, although small, look at how beautiful these edges are, although small, was mighty, with 3 very good books by 3 of my favourite authors. I think I can say that about Wesley Chu now, having read both of them and loved both of them. Like, 3 favourites, and 1 5-star, 2 4-stars, but I'm excited about reading more from these authors as they come, of course, especially with Seb. I'm so excited to read Play of Shadows. So yeah, small but mighty. And this one wasn't even on the TBR, that just kind of flew out at me. As for the rest of my TBR, it just didn't happen. As I say, March ran away from me, and I don't know what I've got to show for it other than this little stack of books, an obsession with Has Been Hotel, and a desire to learn about essentialism. But that is that. So thanks for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. If you've read any of these books and you want to chat to me about them, feel free to do so down below. Hopefully your March reading went a little bit better than mine. And if you missed it, in April, I am doing 30 books in 30 days, so I really need to crack on with the reading for April to get as much done as possible. And also, if you weren't aware, I am hosting a group trip to the Galapagos Islands with Trover Trip. There are still some early bird spots available for that. I will leave the link for it down below. It would be incredible to have some like-minded bookish people join me in going to one of the most incredible places on the planet, I think. Like, there's gonna be the marine iguanas and the seals and the Charles Darwin Centre and the shark experience and the diving and all of the beautiful islands, and I think you should check it out. The link will be down below. It would be great to have you join me. And of course, thank you once again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. The link for the trial will be down below for the first 500 people to click on that, so thank you very much to them. But yeah, otherwise, thank you for hanging out with me for a bit today, and I shall see you in whatever comes next. Bye!